Okay, today I'm going to be going over how to run the program PNM or Personal Note Manager. The way I do it is I create a folder on the desktop, and in that folder I put the one and only program. Right now it's PNM 94 version 9.4, and that's all it takes to run. So once you get it installed, go ahead and click that start. Pulls up your splash screen. Click or press any key to continue. Okay, we go on. The database PNM data is not found. Tell it no. Obviously, we're not going to get anywhere, and it's just going to exit. So we'll go back in, and we'll tell it yes. At this point, fill out a couple of things about your user registration. It really doesn't go anywhere. This is just for your benefit to show that, this particular version of the program is, under your name and all that. So let me go ahead and put in my info here. For the password will be visible. The reason I designed it that way is in the past I've, signed into various websites or whatever, and it put everything as asterisks when I was creating it, and I didn't realize that the caps lock or num lock was on, and basically I had trouble getting back in. So I thought for this one and only time when you're first creating the password and everything, go ahead and make it visible. We'll just go ahead and put test for this time. So if you're sure everything is fine, then you can go ahead and lock it in. Okay, now you're ready to sign in to go for it. But before I do that, let me go ahead and exit and show you. It's created just this one file, the DAT file. These are the only two things that you ever need to worry about backing up to a flash drive or wherever you want, and you can restore it to this system or any other system. This is all you need right here is just these two files. Okay, on the PNM DAT file, if you go in and look at it in any program, you'll see that it's all encrypted. Everything is encrypted in this thing, so nobody can look at your data to see what you've put in there or anything along that line. So let's go ahead and start the program again. Click past. It detects there's a DAT file there, so we'll go ahead and put in the password of test, and now we're in. Okay, once we're in, you got a few choices. It shows what your registration info was, enter a license key. For demo purposes, when you're testing this out, you can add up to 100 notes. If you're sure you like it and this is what you want to go, you can buy a license key, and then you would click here and you'd put in your license key and activate it. At this point, while we're still testing it, we don't have to worry about that. So add a note is pretty much the main thing you want to do at this point because you got 0 notes. The database was created on that date and time. So we'll go ahead and add it. So what it gives you is 130 by 30 free form, whatever you want to do, whatever you want to say about anything. Your help screen tells you some of the things. What I usually do is this F2 key, generate today, is I do that the very first thing on the very first line. I skip a line a lot of times, and then from there on, you just say whatever you want to say. This is a journal. I've been using this thing for many years and many versions of it going back forever. Nowadays, I put an entry in at least every day. I wish I would have done that years ago when I first created this program because there's a lot of things that, at the time you enter it, you think, oh, I'll remember this. Well, guess what? Later on, you don't remember all the details exactly. So my advice, if you're going to do it, is go ahead and put something in every day. So let's look at some of the other things in the function key. Load a contact form or load a website form. Well, you don't have to do that, but if you do the F3, it'll go ahead and put out, it looks like it wiped that out because of where the cursor was. But load a contact form. If you want to put some people's names and address and stuff about them, you can do that. Or if you do the F4, a website form, some new website that you've been to. You can do that way. Or if you don't want either one of those, you can cancel. And let's just go back in and add a blank one. Let's just go back with the F2. So that kind of goes over the first three things. Paste clipboard text. Okay. That's where if you were on the internet and whatever article or anything that you had, if you found something that was interesting and you highlighted it and you copied it and then you went back to your program and wherever you wanted to put it, let's go right there. And if we look at the help screen again, here again, the typical thing, Control V, which is pretty much typical. Can do a Control V and it'll go ahead and paste what you just, copied from some other source into there. So let's look at what other things we have here. Control reformat paragraph. Okay, if we had decided that right now insert mode is off, let's turn insert mode on and I'll hit enter a few times. And in the middle of this, we'll put Mary had a little lamb. Just trying to show you how it works. Now, if we go back to the help screen, we don't want to do the reformat yet, but this insert a blank line, Control N, Control Y is delete a blank line. So we've got a couple of blank lines. So if we do the Control Y a couple of times to pull it up so that these four are at least close together, and then go to the top one and do the Control R, it will go ahead and put them all together. See, there's our Mary had a little lamb in the middle of it. So that's how those things would work. Toggle word wrap on or off. Again, that just makes it so that when you are typing something at the end of the line, it'll either wrap around or it won't wrap around. Save note, that's pretty much when you're through. But at this point, you pretty much can type whatever you want. Let's go back to our Mary had a little lamb thing. Running out of things to say. I'm trying to show you something, so I just want to type a long line. Now, if you noticed, as soon as it got to the end of it, when the word got too big, it just went ahead and wrapped around. That's because word wrap was on. If I would have turned that off, it would have just went to the end and just stayed there. But anyway, that's how that would work. Let's go ahead and at least finish our thought here. And we'll go ahead and lock that in. So now we have one note, tells you when it was last accessed, when it was updated. Now, all these notes, when we go to find, do we just want to go look by note number 1? There it is. And then if you see something, if you want to go back and edit it, you can go in, go down, click your mouse wherever you want to go. Just say whatever you want to say. It's kind of free form, whatever you want to say. So that's edit. Delete is obvious. If you want to delete, it gives you a chance to delete. You tell it no, it doesn't. Export, it's kind of reverse of the import. If you do the F12, it'll copy it into the clipboard. So you can open up another program like Notepad or something along that line. And you can do a paste and it will put everything that's in the note in there. So that's how that would work. Escape obviously is there. So now once we got everything there the way we want it, let's go back and let's go find, instead of by note, let's look for text. So we can, well, we only got one note, so it's not a whole lot, but if we want to do first to last or last to first, in this particular case, it doesn't matter. If we wanted to look for lamb, line, just put a space in between each word. Um, I think Nix was one of them in there. First option, they're separate words. Any can be in a note, or go there and highlight that one. All must be in a note. Let's go for any can be in a note and start searching. And it'll go ahead and highlight where it finds those particular ones. Here again, when you click search again, it'll look for it in another note, but since we only got one note out there, there's not a whole lot it can find. But that's how that would work. And when you got thousands of notes like I got in my actual database, it comes in pretty handy. So I think that's about the main things that I need to go over with you. Like I said, when I was designing the program, a few choices that I had to make. The one main choice that I had to make was the size, and I went with your screen resolution has to be at least 1920 by 1080. Most of the laptops or nowadays have at least that, and of course, if you got a desktop monitor or whatever, you can buy a screen that's at least 1920 by 1080. When it gets smaller than that, I had to start changing font sizes and everything, and it just got to it was really involved, and it kind of lost the flow of the program. So that was the main choice I wanted. Other than that, I know it's been tested on Windows 10 and 11, and it works fine. It may even run on older versions. And like I said, you can add up to 100 notes. And after that, it won't let you add anymore unless you go ahead and buy a license key and put it in right there. So anyway, that's how you would work Personal Note Manager. I hope you enjoy it. Like I said, it's been really handy for me to go back and look up things that happened weeks or months or even years ago and see what was really going on at the time, because I've probably forgot a lot of it in detail. So anyway, I hope you enjoy it. Thanks.